Every now and then I talk about the old steamships. Well, here's another one I'm going to talk about. The Trans-Columbia. Stay tuned, folks. This ship has a lot of history. I'm the Saipan Sailor, and welcome to Chapter 1 of the Tramp. 1981 or 82, I think it was late 81, I was in school in Maryland. And I finished the course I was taking. And I decided, I'll go to Brooklyn and ship out of there. So I went to Washington, D.C., jumped on an Amtrak train, rode it up to New York, got off the train, went and checked into the doghouse. We called it the doghouse at the time. It was the Seamen's Church Institute, located in Battery Park, Manhattan. Closet space rooms, and when I say closet space, I mean closet space. But you had a great view of the harbor and the Statue of Liberty. Anyway, jumped on a subway, went to the hall, and got registered. I don't know how long I was there, but a job came up on an old steamship called the Trans-Columbia, an unlicensed watchstander, engine room watchstander. So I took the job. I think they were calling a lot of jobs on there, but anyway, when I got to the ship, I was the first. There's 3 watchstanders. I was the first one on board. So that meant I had a choice of which room I wanted, where the engine department was, and I also had a choice of what watch I wanted to stand, which was going to be the 8 to 12. So I went to the other rooms. I picked the room all the way on the end, because there's only one other person on one side of me, and I kind of like that. And I went through all the other rooms, and I found a recliner chair, and I think a dartboard. So I grabbed those, moved them to my room, and got settled in. And I went up to the mess hall. Now our rooms were below the deck. Okay, these old C4 class vessels, the crew was below the deck, aside from the electrician and I think the steward. They had a room on the main deck. So anyway, I went up to the mess hall to see what they had in the fridge, and the captain was in there. And he was hammered. I mean, he was 3 sheets to the wind. And he's staggering around, and he sees me, and he goes, "Who are you?" I said, "Well, I'm the new unlicensed watchstander engine." He says, "Oh." And he walks up to me, and he goes, he's wobbling around. He says, "I don't want any fighting on my ship." I said, "Oh, no problem here, Captain. I'm a lover, not a fighter." And he starts laughing. He says, "Yeah, that's what they all say." And he staggers out of there. And I watched him leave, and I thought, well, I guess as long as he's anesthetized, he'll be happy. That ship was in mothballs. So the only people on board were him, captain, and all the engineers, and myself. And I guess over the next couple of days, the other watchstanders showed up, and a couple of day workers. And so we proceeded to light off the boilers, build up steam, a cold light off on those old ships. They're not Navy ships, so those boilers, the tubes are not as thick and they're not as durable as a Navy ship. So we have to light them off, bring up steam, maybe 100, 150 pounds, cut the fires, and do that all day until we got the steam up to at least 300 or 400 pounds. And then I guess they let it cool down overnight, and then they lit off again in the morning, and they kept them lit so they can start the generators and get on ship power and start the other systems. Well, as soon as we got a full crew, they got ready to sail. We were going to pick up a load of cargo and head to Europe. Now bear with me, folks. This was a long time ago, and I'm clearing away cobwebs here. But that ship is one I'll never forget. On the way over across the Atlantic, a couple of guys in the deck department were talking about somebody that made a trip on there not too long ago, and they were there with them. I might be wrong about the timeline here, but I could swear my memory serves me correctly. That's the story I was hearing. The guy that made the trip was a guy named Christopher Buckley, who is the son of William F. Buckley Jr. They're both writers, I think. I know Christopher Buckley was a writer. He may have been a speech writer for one of the presidents, maybe Nixon, Carter, I'm not sure. He made a trip on there so he could write a book. And he did write a book, and it was called Steaming to Bambula. Now, I'm not going to go through what that title means. The book is kind of a comical, funny story. Personally, I think some of it bullshit. But, you know, what's a sea story without a little bit of that added? Oh, no, not me. I don't tell bullshit stories. But he did get some things wrong about the engine room. I'll give him that. I mean, he didn't sail engine department. He was in the deck department. That ship made 2 trips to Europe. Now, on the first trip, I don't remember which ports we went to on which trip, but I know we went to Liverpool and Southampton. I know we went to Bremerhaven, Germany. Now, Bremerhaven, and that seaport, there's a Seamen's Club. If it's still open, it is the oldest, longest running Seamen's Club on the planet. And back then it was huge, it was big. And I have been there many times after that, in like the late 90s, after the millennium, and it had changed a lot. It was a lot smaller. But it may have been in the same building. But Bremerhaven was just as much fun as it was back in 81, 82. We also went to Rota, Spain. Did I mention that? And then headed back to New York. On the second trip, we picked up the wings to the Space Shuttle Discovery. And there were NASA people all over the ship. And I went on deck and I seen the wings, and they were pretty huge. And not too long ago, I was in Los Angeles at the Expedition Park where they have the Space Shuttle Endeavour, and that thing's huge. And I imagine the wings were pretty much in proportion to that. So anyway, we carried the wings, I think, from New York to New Jersey, only a couple of days. Then the ship hit a couple other ports going south until we ended up in good old New Orleans. And it just happened to be during Mardi Gras. Now, I don't remember much from the Mardi Gras parties, and one thing I remember from being in, watching the parade, was I was standing there, and they're throwing out these beads, and everybody's trying to catch a set of beads as a souvenir. And I wasn't even trying, I wasn't even interested. But I felt somebody tap me on the shoulder from behind. So I turned around. I didn't see anybody I recognized. I thought maybe it was someone from the ship, but I didn't see anybody that I knew. And when I turned back to face the parade, I got hit right in the face with a couple of those beads. So I grabbed them, stuffed them in my pocket. And that's all I remember from New Orleans. I was only in New Orleans one more time. Actually, it was before that. It was in '79, I think. Yeah, I was on a waterman ship there. And it was during the holidays. It was during Christmas, New Year's. I remember going into town with somebody, and we went by the old Trade Center where there was a streetcar named Desire. And I mean, the place was a ghost town because I think it was Christmas Day, actually. But there was one person there. One little black kid was tap dancing, and he had his hat down. I looked at him. My partner, he looked at me. I says, "We got to give the kid some money. It's freezing cold out here, and there's nobody around." So I think we each gave him $20 or something. He was happy. And again, that's all I remember from New Orleans. And that's all there's going to be for now. I'm the Saipan Sailor. This has been Chapter 1 of The Tramp.